Yo gang, yo gang, yo gang, yo gang. It's Trollbot.exe and welcome back to Trollbot Studios. And now we're back here once again with the second part of the Metalder review. For any new viewers, just get used to these awkward intros. We do them a lot over here. Alright, so today I'm going to be looking at the episodes, the special effects and music, and since this is the first time in this series we don't have a mecha section, taking its place will be character designs. As I review more anime and tokusatsu shows, we are definitely going to make some new categories. So, let's begin with the episodes. Metalder has 39 episodes, so naturally besides the 5-part endgame, there's not a lot of multi-parters. However, even with that, there are a lot of episodes that provide huge emotional value and are actually important to the story, mainly concerning enemies getting spared like Ben K and Top Gunner. Typically for the time, a lot of the episodic plots of tokusatsu, really most of them, will feature a child of the weak facing trouble at the hands of a monster and the hero solving the problem. With Sentai and Metal Heroes, the danger is usually minor if not neglectable, and is only used as a means to an end to get the heroes. This is the same thing that happens with Kamen Rider, but even then, those plots are usually a lot more high stakes, with some even involving political figures and leaders. Those plots are not a problem for me, they're usually just okay. They got way too sidetracked, so let's get back to Metalder. I can count on one hand how many Child of the Week plots there were. Anyway, my least favorite episode was episode 22, concerning the Red Dolphins, mainly because it was an ultra-bored watch. However, I think episode 15 is my favorite. The episode dealing with Heteros Jr. and Wisdom, as Metalder fights them and has to confront the consequences of his actions, which leads to some really heartfelt scenes. Personally, I feel like the final endgame was quite rushed, and the final battle between Metalder and God Neros could have been executed a little bit better. Really a lot better, but still. I did like the reveal about Neros' identity, however. The episodes are also quite well paced, especially for the time. So, now that we got that covered up, let's go on to the character designs. The character designs are mainly by Keita Amamiya and Yasushi Moriki. Amamiya needs no introduction in the tokusatsu realm, as he is famous for directing Jetman, a couple of the Heisei Kamen Rider series, and creating the Garo franchise. He also did a lot of character designs for other series of the time, such as Flashman, though arguably in the 90s and 2000s he reached his peak creatively. The character designs are still awesome in this series, and are perhaps some of my favorite character designs in tokusatsu altogether. Perhaps my favorite character design is likely either Metalder, Top Gunner, or Crosslander. All three are very much near perfect designs. Like with minor alterations and they will just be perfect. I legit have no complaints about them. Among the worst designs are actually God Neros himself. Neros' design is great, just it doesn't fit the character. Personally, I would have gone for a more Emperor Palpatine look. And I know this is 2026 hindsight, and I know the film won't exist until 1999. But personally, I'd have also added details reminiscent of the film Eyes Wide Shut. But still, it's a great design. Perhaps my least favorite design of all has to be Big Wayne. I'm not really that impressed with the character design. It just doesn't have as much aura as the character commands. I think his design is probably one of the few that I outright don't like or just think it's okay. Otherwise, great designs all around the board. These mans cooked Michelin star level meals with this. I also like the vehicle designs, and how the vehicles are a lot more realistic, as our heroes and villains are seen riding around more realistic cars and vehicles. However, Metalder is given a flying car, but still, the designs are good for these vehicles. Okay, now let's get on to special effects and music. The music is done by Seiji Yokoyama, who is also famous for composing for Saint Seiya and Armor Fleet Die Rugger 15. As I previously stated, Yokoyama is among my favorite composers, and though that's mostly due to the Die Rugger soundtrack, the soundtrack here is not no slouch. It's a really good soundtrack. And as we see in the credits, the soundtrack's performance is credited to the New Japan Philharmonic Orchestra, conducted by Hiroshi Kumagai. Supposedly, Yokoyama personally asked for an orchestra, as he really thought an orchestra would be enough to convey the tone for Metalder, which Yokoyama saw as Shakespearean. Though the score is mostly orchestrated, it also has a couple of rock and pop pieces, though even then they are mixing with orchestrated elements. One thing I want to point out is, I really like the transformation theme for Metalder, mainly for its nice chords, especially at the end, and how it stands out among the rest of the Metal Hero franchise. However, at the latter half of the show, it was nearly entirely shafted for the insert song, Flickering, the Dream Warrior, sung by Ichiro Mizuki. The lyrics are by Takashi Mayumi, it's composed by Masayasa Takeichi, and it was arranged by Hirokazu Takahashi. I already said my piece about the song, but for new viewers, I really like it. There's a reason I used it for my second intro back in the day, and by back in the day I mean 2023. It was one of my shorter-lived intros, only lasting about 6 to 8 months. Anyways, let's get to the actual opening, Does Your Youth Shine, by Isao Sasaki, who admittedly was long past his peak in the 70s, where he most famously sung the theme songs for Go Ranger, Robo, Kashurn, and Guy King. It's a pretty good song, and hey, it has a message about how to get Riz in the chorus. I really like the instrumental, it's calm, it has a vibe to it, and it's a pretty chill song. The lyrics are by James Miki. It was composed by Takashi Miki and arranged by Kohei Tanaka, who previously did the score for Flashman and is way more famous for doing the music for One Piece. This is the first Metal Hero opening to not be composed by a series composer, who was, up until the previous show, Chume Watanabe. Now the ending theme, Time Limits, which has the same staff from the opening, except the singer this time is Ichiro Mizuki again, with Kurogi73 as backup vocals. It's an okay song, like the first half is fine, but the second half is really good. This is where the song really picks up. However, the end of the song feels unsatisfying, as it feels like the song just concludes out the blue. However, for both songs, the lyrics are a huge step up compared to a lot of anime and tokusatsu we reviewed in this series. Okay, now the special effects. The special effects are really nothing special at the time. They were still done by Nobuo Yajima of Super Sentai fame. I really have nothing to say about them except they're good, they're mostly seamless, just not anything special. The camera work could be a lot better, however. Also, on an unrelated side note, there was supposed to be a plot twist about Kuogen's identity, which would have made kinda sense narratively, but still wouldn't have worked well, but the execution would have probably more than made up for it. And if done right, could have made for something truly gut-wrenchingly tragic compared to other toku, even compared to toku in the modern day. And the implications would probably make God Nero so much more evil and detestable than he already is. So the series as a whole, I really like Metalder. It has some really cool character designs, a gripping story. I just like the overall feel to it. Though, had it been given more episodes, I feel like it would have truly shined. Thus, I'm gonna give it a solid 90% out of 100. It's an enjoyable watch. I highly recommend you find some way to check it out. As for what to do next, well, the name Hall of Menaces should ring a bell for longtime viewers. Yes, it's finally time we do another trial. As you probably recognize, 2025 was the year without a trial. Mainly because I couldn't figure out anyone to do an episode on, but now I finally got somebody, which will only be revealed in the actual video. So, get excited. If you're unfamiliar, the Hall of Menaces is a special series for certain fictional characters that just prove to be menaces and have Black Air Force energy. Also known as characters who generally just don't care. This was mainly inspired / directly stolen from CJ the Champ's Black Air Force Roundtable, but my main problem with that series is sometimes it seems like he'd just be dragging anybody into the Roundtable. So that's the bar I set my series at. And that's everything I have for today. So until next time, like, subscribe, and comment down below. In the meantime, later fools.